All right, let's get into it. Today, we're going to jump in a time machine and head straight back to the 90s. But we're not talking about music or fashion, nope. We're looking at a piece of software that kind of quietly started a massive revolution in how businesses handled their own information. We're talking long before the tools we all know and use today even existed.
And this quote right here, it just nails the whole situation. I want you to picture this. It's the mid-1990s. You're working in finance, maybe operations. You need a simple number, a specific sales figure to make a call. But that data, it's locked up tight. Getting it meant you had to fill out a request for the IT department, and then you just waited. It was a slow, incredibly frustrating game that was literally holding businesses back.
You know, this whole era was defined by this massive gap. On one side, you had all the business folks who were desperate for information to do their jobs. And on the other side, you had the technical gatekeepers, the IT teams, who had all the keys to the kingdom.
And this created a colossal bottleneck. Think about it. Business users in HR, finance, ops, they needed answers now. But the IT and database teams, they were just drowning in a sea of requests, and every single one needed custom code. So decisions were put on hold for days, sometimes weeks, all while the answers were just sitting right there inside the database, totally out of reach.
But then, a totally new kind of tool started to show up, one that was designed to fix this exact problem. And out of Oracle's growing business intelligence suite came this product with a really bold promise. It basically asked, what if you didn't have to wait for IT at all?
And that was Oracle Discover. Its whole mission was simple, but for the time, it was absolutely revolutionary. It was built from the ground up for the non-technical person, giving them this friendly, easy-to-use way to directly ask questions of those huge Oracle databases that were running their companies. The goal was to finally let the business users go get the data themselves.
So how in the world did it actually do that? How did it make something so incredibly complicated feel so simple? Well, it all came down to a few key innovations that were just incredibly clever.
Okay, so the secret sauce, the real magic, was this thing called the end user layer, or EUL for short. The best way to think of it is like a universal translator. It would take all that cryptic database jargon, stuff like cust_ord_line_item, and it would translate it into plain English, into business terms like customer order line item. This one feature was brilliant, because it hit all the messy technical stuff from the user.
And once you had that translator in place, Discover could give you this, a query wizard. It was just a simple step-by-step guide. You'd pick stuff from folders that actually made sense, like sales or customer name. Maybe you'd add a simple filter, something like region equals north. And then you'd just click run. That was it. No coding, no SQL, just answers.
And the cool part didn't even stop once you got the data. The reports weren't just, static printouts. You could actually play with them. You could drill down into a number to see what was behind it. You could pivot the data to look at it from a totally different angle. You could reformat the whole thing on the fly. It lets you really explore the information.
Now, of course, Discover didn't just stand still. Over its lifespan of more than a decade, it evolved right along with the technology of the day. It went from a simple little desktop tool to a full-blown enterprise solution.
So its journey started as this standalone app on your desktop, but, as the internet took over the world, it moved to the web. First with viewers, and then later with actual web-based creation tools. And eventually, it became this fully integrated part of Oracle's big enterprise application suite. Before, like all great tech, it was eventually replaced by the next generation of BI tools.
But here's the thing. Even though you're not going to find many companies running Discover today, its influence on the world of data and analytics it's undeniable. Its impact is still being felt everywhere. When you boil it all down, Discover basically planted the seeds for the entire self-service analytics movement that we have today. It was the proof. It showed the whole world that empowering business users wasn't just some nice-to-have idea. It was an absolutely essential part of building a smarter, faster, and more agile business. And I'm not kidding. You can draw a direct, straight line from this pioneering tool from the 90s to the powerful platforms that millions of us depend on every single day. The core idea here of user empowerment, of turning complex data into simple, explorable insights, that very philosophy first championed by Discover, well, that's the foundation that today's giants like Tableau, Power BI, and even Oracle's own modern analytics tools are all built on.
And it all comes back to this one idea. That, right there, that was the spark. It was so much more than just a new feature.
It was a fundamental shift in thinking about who owns data and who gets to ask the questions. It was the beginning of a data revolution that all of us are still living in today.